Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Red, White, and Ruthless, presented by Nickel City Mafia, where we bleed red, white, and Bills blue, and where we get to talk about Buffalo Bills football. We get to be rowdy. We have no filters pretty much throughout the whole entire show. We'll try to keep it PG-13, but sometimes we run a little bit vulgar, so viewer discretion is advised for you guys. Joining me tonight is my partner in crime, as always, Sean Kula from the Red, White, and Bills. He is the person that you need to talk to for all information on the trenches for the Buffalo Bills. He's also doing this show too, and he's just a great guy overall. So, Sean, man, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Ready for another week. It's sad because as the weeks go, you get farther away or closer to the end of the year, but you're enjoying every step of the way. But you just know each week that passes is another week to being the end of the season. So it's bittersweet every week, but 3-0 going into a very winnable game, feel pretty good.
Yeah, and it's been 10 days since we've seen the Buffalo Bills out there out on the field since they played on Thursday Night Football last week. Get a little bit of rest for the team, but it doesn't help them necessarily. They have two defensive starters that are out. We will get into the key injuries for both teams in a minute, but I want to get into the setup of the game and who we are playing, as well as this matchup where you can find it on streaming services as well. So the Buffalo Bills are going to be taking on the New Orleans Saints at 1 o'clock on Sunday. The game is going to be broadcast on CBS. It is Andrew Catalon. You have Charles Davis and Jason McCourty, who are calling the game. And the Buffalo Bills are currently riding on a 3-0 start, while the New Orleans Saints are searching for their first win under their new head coach, Kellen Moore. The narrative of this game, it couldn't be more different for both teams. Buffalo is currently chasing an AFC crown versus the New Orleans Saints, who are trying to salvage their season with all the players that they have and trying not to unravel in October when that arrives just around the corner. For the Bills, they're coming off of a hot start with their quarterback pretty much having 10 touchdowns overall in the first 3 weeks, and they're doing it with a balanced attack with James Cook, which is always great to see too. So, Sean, let's dive into the Buffalo Bills breakdown, and let's talk about this balanced attack that we've seen from Josh Allen and James Cook. 10 touchdowns in total for Josh Allen. We've seen, I think, James Cook scored in all 3 games so far this season, and they're doing this behind an attack where it's pretty much the give the ball around to all the different receivers as well. So I'd love to know from you, Sean. I mean, as an offensive guy, I love talking about the Buffalo Bills offense. Give me this perspective of how you feel about this balanced attack from the Bills.
Yeah, it's the right idea. Balance is always good. You heard it back before we had a good offensive line, before we had a good run game. You got to be able to run in the playoffs, and then we always had to throw the ball 40-plus times. We never got as far as we wanted. Now, I mean, we still made it as far now, even with the balanced attack, but you're better off winning. You can control the game better. You keep defenses honest better. Only problem I have with it now is it seems like we're not going for the throat, that we're just lollygagging around, bullshitting around, and because we know we can win. So, like, against the Saints, I feel like we'll get up maybe 27-0 or 20-6 or something, and then they're going to be like, okay, let's just try to control the game. We'll waste a lot of clock. We'll try to get eight-minute drives and just bleed the game out. And I've been saying that since like week 2. I don't really like doing that because we have a lot of easy games on the schedule. And if we're just going to do that for all those games, you're going to play the Bucs and the Eagles and the Chiefs, and you're going to be like, oh, crap, this is hard now. We got to really try. And then it's just if you're in the mode of, okay, we're good, let's just go into cruise control, I don't think it's a good mindset to have. But it's nice when you can just kind of, fall asleep and get 30 points a game. But I'd like to just see if you could dominate a team, just do it. Don't worry about controlling the clock. You do that when it's way out of hand. If it's 36-0 or 37-10, yeah, maybe you can just hand the ball off or just let Mitch Trubisky go in and put the backups in. But if you can just like the Miami game, even though they're a division rival, it shouldn't have been 14-14 at half. I know we only had 3 possessions in the first half, but still, you gotta be able to bury these teams that should be buried, and then when you play the good teams, you already know you're going to come out firing on all cylinders. So it's a great idea, great concept, but I still would like to just have a better, you know, attacking mindset every game. You know.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I want to get to the chat real quick. I've neglected them in past shows, and I want to make sure that I highlight the people that are joining us today. Bills fan CA coming into the chat saying one of the best preview shows on the planet, right there behind Bills Blitz on Go Bills podcast. I appreciate you, Mike, for joining us tonight. And if you didn't see it last night, Mike joined me on my channel, Go Bills podcast, for the Bills Blitz show, our game preview as well. So if you're looking for more of a game preview, you can click on over to Go Bills podcast as well. He also says, can the Bills stay focused enough to beat the New Orleans Saints? Jessica Tennis, we haven't seen you in a while. Great seeing you on the channel as well. Hey, guys, hope you're doing well. We hope you are as well. And also Jessica coming into the chat asking if you're Jonah is excited to see the Baltimore Ravens take on the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. And that's going to be another great matchup. Also, Bills fan CA saying that he is, and we would need a win for the Ravens. Derrick Henry has been breaking his heart lately with all the fumbles. Absolutely agree with that on there. So, Sean, let's get into this matchup a little bit more. And we talked about the balanced attack from the Buffalo Bills, but I want to highlight a couple of players on the offensive side of the ball for the Buffalo Bills. And I want to start off with our 2023 first-round pick, Dalton Kincaid. What we have seen out of him over the first 3 weeks of the season, becoming a security blanket for Josh Allen, I think is a great move. And he's coming into his own as one of Josh Allen's go-to weapons. His route running has been good. His hands have been much better. And he's making the catches in situations when the pocket collapses for Josh Allen, making big plays. And I want to talk about him for a second as to what we've seen. He's averaging over 50 yards per game, and he is on pace to become the single season record holder for the Buffalo Bills with over 820 yards if he continues this streak. So I want you to highlight Dalton Kincaid a little bit for me and what he has done, what you've seen as a difference between last year and this year for him.
I think for me, it's too soon to say there's a massive difference yet. There's been a couple balls that have been dropped. One of them was a penalty, so it came back, but he still has a little bit of the drops. He has a couple good games so far. He's got a couple touchdowns. He's only had 2 last year, so he's already doing really good with that. But it's a really big year for him. Like you said, he has the potential to break the tight end record for the Bills. I think he can do it. I would just really like to see – I know some of the catchers are hard, but you're a first-round pick who was known for your hands. So even if it's a tough play, if you're in the end zone, especially like on that one play against I'm pretty sure it was the Jets. Maybe not. Maybe it was the Dolphins. Yeah, pretty sure it was the Dolphins. You got to come down with that just because if you're in an AFC Championship game, the Chiefs make that play. And they did it, remember, with Valdez-Scantling. He had 2 catches for 60-something yards, and it was like one of them was a 40-yard bomb like that, and it kind of put a dagger in it. And you got to be able to make those plays, even if a defender's draped on you. But overall, I think he's doing pretty good. I expect him to keep doing better. And you're not going to catch everything, I guess, that comes your way. But I'd like to think that you're able to do that if you're a first-round pick, known for your hands. And we need a guy in the playoffs that'll step up. We never had that. Diggs dropped a bunch of balls. Sherfield dropped balls. Kincaid dropped balls. All important, and it contributed to a loss. So he's still on the up and up, but I'd like to see even more sure hand.
Yeah, and I think that his durability is a lot better this year. You can tell that he's really worked on, number one, he looks stronger. He looks, like his physicality out there on the field is much better. He's starting to, when people are trying to hit him, he's trying to kind of shake them off a little bit and try and, hit them too, which is a good sign from a tight end to be able to lay the boom out on some players as well. So I like what I've seen out of him, but I mean, clearly he needs to continue to progress and continue this trend until we get the right pieces in place to have a championship run. And then for me, the wide receiver room is deep for the Buffalo Bills. This mentality of everybody eats, I absolutely love the mentality. We've seen at times Keon Coleman have success. We've seen Khalil Shakir have success, but as a unit in a whole, this game against the New Orleans Saints is going to be one where you can stretch the boundaries, you can attack the middle of the field. They struggle in the middle of the field, so I think that Khalil Shakir is going to have a big day, but we need to see a little bit more out of Keon Coleman too, bringing his size and physicality to the table, and then for Khalil Shakir, just continuing the chemistry that you have with Josh Allen. He does have an injury to his ankle, so I want to see him continue to progress as well. So, Sean, I want to highlight the wide receiver room, and who do you think is doing a good job, and who do you think needs to step up in this game?
I would say I don't think anybody's done horrible in the wide receiver room, and it's really hard to judge just because you never know who's going to be featured in what game or what the plan is for the coaching staff. Maybe it's based on matchups, but I would like Palmer to have a game. I know Coleman had a really big game in week 1. Palmer made a couple of big catches, but I like to see a game where he kind of just goes 6 or 7 catches for maybe 80 to 100 yards and a touchdown or 2. I like to see him have that kind of impact. I do like what we're doing with Elijah Moore. He's usually good for 1 really big catch, maybe 2, or 1 big jet sweep around the game. And I think that'll keep people honest. And eventually we're going to be able to use a jet sweep, fake the jet sweep, go to another end around run or a pass out of that play. So I think everybody's contributing. I just want to see them. Sorry, my dog's going crazy. If you could hear it.
Hey, we understand it happens at times. That's part of the Ruthless show. Your dog's excited for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, but I would just like to see. I know it's not a great team, but I want to see these guys get open more consistently, maybe even quicker, because Allen does have a lot of time in the pocket, of course. But if you don't get open, he's not going to hold the ball for 6 seconds and jump around like Lamar Jackson does to try to make a big play, because he just wants to, okay, nobody's getting open in 3 or 4 seconds, get the ball out to whoever's open, because he's going through all his progressions. He's pre-snap dissecting the field, and then he's setting his guys up for to be most successful. So, continuing the efficiency is good, but I still, against these good teams, like with great defenses like Houston or Philly or Kansas City or the Chargers in the playoffs, you hope these guys can make a difference in the pass game. So I know it's a bad team, but I really want to see this passing game open up. You don't have to throw for 550 yards and 6 touchdowns, but I want it to be 20 yards downfield, 25 yards downfield, 15 yards downfield, and it just be easy because these guys are getting open well. So, I mean, really, anyone could have a good day, so it's hard to say, but I'd like to see Palmer have his breakout game.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I watched the Saints play last week against the Seattle Seahawks, and I mean, at times it just seemed like, number one, the run game of the Seattle Seahawks did a wonderful job out there on the field. You saw Kenneth Walker start the drives off, and then they finished it with Sam Darnold in the passing game. And that's a good balanced attack that the Buffalo Bills can do. The Seattle Seahawks won, I think it was 44-13, if I remember correctly, in the score. And it just seemed like they could just march down the field each and every drive that New Orleans didn't have an answer for them. So I want to get into the defensive side for the New Orleans Saints. And defensively, they still have some fight in them. They have Cameron Jordan, who's now in his mid-30s, still playing at a high level in terms of producing and getting to the quarterback. Then they have another guy in Carl Granderson, whose quickness complements Jordan very well. And then they have a linebacker duo as well that we need to talk about too, Sean, that they play smart. They're physical, different wide linebackers, and it gives New Orleans a little bit of versatility in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback. And while this is a team that struggles, I think that they're going to find a way to get pressure on Josh Allen. And with Marshawn Lattimore leaving in the secondary, this is going to be interesting to see. But I want to highlight for you because I know you love talking about the trenches. Let's talk about Cam Jordan and Carl Granderson for a second and talk about this matchup going up against what could be a hurt Spencer Brown for the Buffalo Bills if he does play, or a backup tackle. And give me a little bit of insight on this matchup that you're seeing.
Yeah, like you said, Cam Jordan, I'm pretty sure he just turned 37. I think he just had his birthday. But just like a timeless player. He's true to his roots. He never wanted to leave New Orleans, no matter how bad they've been. He's just a true professional, a good player. He's not going to put up double-digit sacks anymore, but he can still get after the quarterback once or twice a game, get some pressures. But if Brown is hurt, if anything, they'll just have a chip tight end. They'll have Jackson Hawes over there, and then they'll just pop Cam Jordan once or whoever's on that side, and then go out for a pass, and then it'll give Brown an extra second to get into position, have a good chance at winning every block. If he's hurt, even if he is hurt, they might still just have him on an island. I'm pretty sure the thing Trey sent in the Discord, he's on an island 83% of the time, one-on-one without help from a guard or a chipper. So I'm not worried about really anyone we go against. I'm not worried about for this O-line. It's impossible to give up zero pressures a game. So like you said, there will be a couple here and there. But Dawkins on Granderson, I like Dawkins on anybody. But, he might win one or two, and they might do some things where they switch ties. So once in a while, they might do some stunts that might give Granderson a better chance to come across the body of Torrance with a quick move, or Edwards, and maybe get some internal pressure that way with throwing a blitz in there too. But defensive coordinators have to be extra, careful when they do play against us, because they know it's hard to get home with 4. And as you saw, Miami, they blitz Allen 48% of the time, and still only give up 6 pressures total. And that just goes to show how great the offensive line is and how hard it is to even get to Josh if you do get to him. But I'm not going to say it's going to be a zero pressure game. Like, it's never going to be that way. So you definitely got to watch out for those two. But Cam Jordan, 37 years old. If you're Spencer Brown and you're letting him beat you on a consistent basis, then maybe you are really hurt and you got to get subbed out. But I think he'll be fine. But it's I like us against anybody, especially in the run game. I think we're going to have a very easy time running on them. We should be able to pass on them too. Josh should have a lot of time, but I'm definitely not going to discredit those 2 edge rushers they got. And I think that they might get 5 pressures, maybe 6 at most, depending on how many times we pass the ball.
Yeah, and this pretty much New Orleans Saints defense. They get their pressure from Granderson most of the time. He has 3.5 sacks on the season. He also has 15 tackles so far this year, and he's starting to look more like a Brian Burns out there on the field. I'm not saying that he's at that level yet, don't get me wrong, but he's playing like Brian Burns a couple of years ago, where he had 100 tackles and like 15 sacks a year for the Carolina Panthers. And great to see that happen, but let's try and manage him and keep an X factor on Granderson as well. But Sean, let's dive into the key matchups for this game, and I want to start off with my first key matchup, which is going to be Alvin Kamara for the New Orleans Saints. He's the X factor for them on offense, and the Bills, front 7 is going to be a little bit depleted this week. They don't have Ed Oliver. They won't have Matt Milano, and it's going to be interesting to see the adjustment period that the Bills defense will face with those players banged up. They also have Greg Rousseau still developing and trying to create an edge for them. And AJ Epinesa is hurt. Maybe we see Landon Jackson out there on the field instead of him and rest him to get healthy. But then the Bills have Deion Walker, who's in the middle and starting to carve out the snaps in Ed Oliver's absence, I meant. And I want to talk about the run game for the Buffalo Bills. We saw it in week 1 where we struggled a lot going up against Derrick Henry. Now you have a guy that years ago, he was at one time like a if not a first-round pick, a second-round pick in fantasy drafts. Going up against Alvin Kamara, who hasn't been used in the passing game very much for the New Orleans Saints. Talk to me a little bit about going up against Alvin Kamara and what you like about the matchup for the defense of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he's another guy who's just a timeless player. He's a beast out of the backfield, catching the ball. I'm pretty sure he's got like the most touchdowns in Saints history or something like that, whether it's rushing or total. But yeah, he was a 1,000 guy. It felt like sometimes. I don't know if he ever got 1,000 receiving yards, but he definitely felt like he was around there every year. And he's still a weapon. They run a good amount of screens. I feel like he's a hard guy to tackle, and I think honestly, I might be the only one that feels this way, but I think our defense is better without Matt Milano at this point. I know people don't like Dorian Williams in coverage. I think he's not as bad as people say, but they got a slow tight end. Kamara's not the fastest back anymore. I wouldn't be worried if Dorian Williams is out trying to guard those guys in coverage. Dorian's a very good open field tackler. So in screens, I think he'd do a good job. But I mean, Kamara could kill you anytime, anywhere. So definitely a guy you gotta be careful of if it's even possible that he could be running a screen. And if he's just looking in the back at the quarterback waiting for a ball, I want someone to just be running at him at full speed just in case he gets the ball and then he doesn't have any room to do anything. But yeah, he's very good. I don't know about their injury report, but they've done a lot of drafting, trying to fix this offensive line. You know, they got a really good center, Cesar Ruiz. They got that Fuaga guy a couple years ago. Penning, I think he's a guard. And there might be one other guy I'm missing that they've been really trying to get this offensive line good. A lot of them battling injuries, so I think most of them come back this week. But they haven't played together all year, so as much as they might be pretty decent, I think we should be able to take advantage of it. And again, if we can't, if it's another week where no sack, again, sacks isn't everything, but if my problem is because people brought up, oh, we're pressuring pretty good. It's true, but it's not equaling anything positive for us.
Yeah.
Miami was 10 for 15 on third down, so pressure didn't matter there. The Ravens were even better than that on third down. Pressure didn't matter there. Obviously, the Jets game, it was good, but I want the pressures to be what's the word I'm looking for? Intentional. It provides something good for us because of it, not just they get it out quick and then it becomes a big play for them. I want there to be.
You're saying more success for the Buffalo Bills in terms of the outcome of what happens when you get pressure.
Yeah. So like it's nice on the stat sheet that we're like a top 10 pressure rate defensive team, but if it's not equaling anything for us in the positive, it doesn't really mean anything to me. It's just like it's just like how our secondary stats look pretty good right now. That's just because of the Jets game. That's because Justin Fields had 20 yards and like a 15% completion percentage. Now the Ravens game, Lamar threw all over us. In Miami, Tua didn't throw the ball deep on us, but they got, Benford got beat he got beat real bad by Tyreek Hill in the end zone. Trey White got beat by Jalen Waddle, gave him too much space in the end zone. It was an easy touchdown. I could have threw that pass. I could have caught that too. That's how easy it was for them to do it. So they still have a lot of work to do. I think that Jets game really inflated the secondary, even the third down defense, because we're never going to go 0 for 11 again on forcing third down. So it's really important that the pressures actually mean something. And like John says, Walker's pressure, he had that one that led to the turnover. That's really been the only one I feel like had a really big benefit. And I just want to see these guys, if you're not going to sack the quarterback when you're there, at least make it so it's a throwaway or a tipped interception or you knock the pass down, because you got Walker and Rousseau. They're 6'7". You should always be having your hands up like Walker did. And I know a lot of people were trying to say, oh, Rousseau's only job was to contain last game. And it's just not, that's not how it works. That's not what people tell defensive ends when they play. Again, I didn't play in college, but when I did play defensive end, that's one of the things you have to be conscious of, but that's based on that certain play call. So if it's whatever the play call is, my job is to contain and push things inside. Don't get too far, don't have my rush lane too far deep so then the quarterback can run by me. And that people are trying to make it seem that's what he's supposed to do every single play. And that's not the case. I guarantee that's not the case. It's because that's not how football works. It might be some plays where you're supposed to do that. But when I was watching the film, Rousseau just was out of so many plays. He made a couple good plays, made a pressure too, but he needs to step up and do way more than what, especially because everyone says, yeah, he's not a great pass rusher, but he's a run defender. He's a great at setting the edge. He's a great run defender. 0 run stops the last 2 games, 0 tackles. He had a assisted tackle last week, but I don't count that. It's not a tackle. You jumped in a pile when someone else started it. So 0 tackles the last 2 games total and 0 run stops. So if you're that good, you got to be affecting the run game like extremely better than that. So hopefully you can do that this week.
Yeah, and John Robert brings up a good point. The bruised knee. I mean, that could very well be one of the reasons why he's struggling right now. But I mean, if you're injured and you can't play at the highest level, then the next player has to come into the game, and that has to be somebody like a Landon Jackson, a Javon Solomon that has to step up in those situations, or you give more snaps to Joey Bosa out there. Yeah. So, I understand to a degree that, but I also want to see him have success out there on the field too.
Yeah. Well, Sean, I respect that too. Just real quick on that, but they haven't put him on the injury report for it. So I'm not saying that he's not dealing with that, but I say this for everybody. I did it with Spencer Brown when he played that whole year with the hurt back, and I killed him for it every week when he was horrible. If you're going out there playing when you're hurt, I have to judge you off of what you're putting on the field, regardless of if you have a pain or not, because you're forfeiting the ability to catch a break. Like if you didn't play and you were hurt, I could be, oh yeah, well he was hurt, so I can't really knock him on that. And then when he comes back, I'll give him a game or two to settle back into it. But if you're continuing to play, if you're not 100%, you're hurting the team for your own selfish thoughts, and you want to be that guy, and you want to help the team even though you're not 100%. So that's selfish, and then you're not going to be good. You're not going to be your best self. So if that's what it really is happening, either don't play, or when you are playing, make a difference. So again, I'm not saying that he's not dealing with knee pain, but I got to keep the same energy for him like I did Spencer Brown years back. Yeah,
absolutely. And I mean, people are in the chat are bringing up a good point. John Robert saying Landon Jackson needs to be active. I know Mike Fortin is going to absolutely love that if we see him active, but brings up a good point about seeing him on the game day roster. Sean, you need to make a couple connections to the front office and make it happen. Absolutely. Would love to see that. And John Robert coming in saying, I would like to not be doing much and be 3-0. I mean, absolutely. I agree with that too. But Sean, let's get into the passing game for the New Orleans Saints, and let's talk about the second-year player, Spencer Rattler, that's out there on the field for the New Orleans Saints. He's currently completing about 62% of his passes. And you mentioned the offensive line that he has is one of their strengths that they have. They have Fuaga at the right tackle position. Left tackle is Trevor Penning. Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz too. And we talked about the pass rush that's going to be going up against him. Well, let's talk about not only Spencer Rattler, but the receivers that he's throwing the ball to. And these are there's some talent, but there's also a lot of frustration from these receivers. Chris Olave is their alpha wide receiver, capable of stretching the field. But at times he kind of gets ghosted out there on the field. Then you have the veteran in Brandon Cooks, who brings a savvy veteran presence and speed to the offense. You have their speedster and explosive play potential in Rashid Shaheed out there on the field too. Then they brought in a guy from the NFC South that's battled some injuries in Trey Palmer, a piece that could be more of a depth piece for them. But right now, they have the uber athletic Juwan Johnson that we mentioned too. and their red zone weapon that they use a lot. So I want to get into the whole entire picture of this passing game and talk about them and number one and highlight some of the players on the list too. So Sean, give me your couple minutes of your time for your thoughts on this passing game for the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, so they like to pass the ball. I'm pretty sure Rattler's thrown over 20 times more than Allen has so far. Now they were down a lot last week, but they were in a couple games. So they like to throw the football. 63% completion, that's not too bad. But I mean, Chris Olave, he's just such an outstanding player. Can probably just tear apart any defense, so that makes me nervous. But I mean, Shaheed is really just a deep threat. He's not. I have him in one of my fantasy leagues just as a guy I always have on my bench. I'm actually starting him this week because going off topic real quick. I was mad at I have AJ Brown, I had Terry McLaurin, and Brian Thomas Jr. I was mad one day because AJ Brown did nothing the first 2 weeks, and then at halftime last week he had no points. So I said, screw it. I'm going to trade him and McLaurin for CeeDee Lamb. My friend accepted the trade at 3:00. CeeDee Lamb goes down at 4:30, out for 4 weeks. So I don't have McLaurin, AJ Brown, or CeeDee Lamb to use. So I was like, you know what? I got Jameson Williams, Brian Thomas Jr., and I got Shaheed on my bench. I'm going to put him in because I think he'll catch 1 or 2 deep balls against us. Again, it's not going to he's not going to put up 300 yards and 4 touchdowns on us. But he's a good deep ball guy. I don't know much about their tight end. I know he's been used a lot, but he's not like a top 5 tight end or anything. And then you got to worry about Kamara in the pass game. Brandon Cooks is an old vet, pretty solid his entire career. So they got a lot of guys to throw to. Again, besides Olave, nobody's really a superstar. They're going to try to throw the ball downfield. So we got to be prepared for that. And that's why it's important because to actually get meaningful pressure, because they're going to try to throw the ball a lot. So if you're in his face and you're making him have to think too much, it's gonna really be awesome. And at the same time, he is a second-year player. I think he's only started 9 games, right? I think he's 0-9. So he's still technically a rookie till you hit like 18 games or maybe even 20. So we know how McDermott does against guys like that. So I feel good going up against them. I know offensively they've been okay, except for last game. But I really think we're gonna get to him and have meaningful pressure, get some sacks, disrupt passing lanes, and then just make a really bad day for him. And it should be really good for us.
Absolutely. I want to get to a comment in just a second. I'm trying to pull up some information on Dorian Williams in the chat. Sandy Witches comes into the chat saying, how is Dorian Williams in coverage? And I want to get to his coverage grade. Right now,
pull up his grades.
Yeah, according to PFF, he has a 51.1 grade, which is 82nd out of 123 linebackers in the NFL at this time. Let me get into some of the premium stats for him. Against the New York Jets, that's where he had his highest coverage grade. Actually, I'm sorry. Against Baltimore is where he had his highest coverage grade, which was a 63.3% in that game. Also had a couple of stops in both the Baltimore game and the Miami game. His receiving yards per reception is 5 yards per reception. So decent numbers for him. And I think that he's going to get better as the season goes on and becoming a player for the Buffalo Bills. So I'm not too worried about the difference between Dorian Williams versus Matt Milano on the field.
Yeah. I mean, you can even pull up Milano's while I'm just talking about it a little bit. Dorian's not the best, but he's not horrible. Like a lot of people make it seem like he's like the worst person you could put out there. But to me, evaluating him as a linebacker, he's the most athletic we got. He's the quickest we got. He's the strongest we got as far as physically. So I want him to get more. It's a pretty small sample size this year in coverage. But I want him to get more out there more because he's going to be part of the future. Again, he's not a superstar at it, but I think it could definitely even improve continuously, but it's also not awful. The eye test for me is
Yeah, I completely
like
agree with what you're
PFF
saying.
maybe gives him like 50, 50 is kind of like a little bit harsh maybe, but I think the eye test, I don't ever in these 3 weeks, I didn't say, man, get him out of here. Like he's horrible in coverage. He's just complete ass. Just get him out of here. I never felt that way. But yeah, if you want to talk about Milano's coverage grades, which is even
So
a
I'm going to give
smaller
you
sample size, but just for reference.
So let me give you his overall grade for Matt Milano. 30.2 grade on PFF right now. 66.7 grade of pass rushing. Run defense 32.7. Coverage 40.1, which is very low. 101st out of 123 linebackers in the NFL. So probably these numbers are a little bit stagnant because of the injury to him. But
yeah, it's awful.
I mean, it's not as good. So we'll see what happens with the Bills and Matt Milano in that situation. But I want to get into some of the other comments too. Javon Solomon isn't doing anything. They used Solomon for 9 snaps last week. This is about the Bills taking care of business, and could you have backups in the fourth quarter? Completely agree there. John Roberts saying he would love to see Tyrell Shavers get his first touchdown. Completely agree with you there.
That'd be nice too.
Jessica Tennis saying, I think Landon Jackson might be playing in the next few games and somehow will get injured and put on IR. We talked about that yesterday on my channel, and I completely agree with what you're saying there. Possibly a bye week injury that could happen, as well as it's true. Yep, can see that. John Robert saying Dorian Strong could get some more reps, like what that could very well happen too. But Sean, let's get into the key matchups. I mean, we're rambling on it as always, like we normally do. But I want to talk about a couple of key matchups that we have. Let's talk about the red zone efficiency for the Buffalo Bills. Right now, they're currently at 70% in terms of touchdown conversion rate versus the New Orleans Saints, who are one of the bottom teams in the NFL at 30%. I think that alone could decide the difference in the game for the Buffalo Bills. You completely agree with me?
Yeah, for sure. It really red zone defense and offense is super important, especially against a team like this. You don't want to be given extra opportunities. You don't want to be playing around in there in the red zone and not getting 7. So yeah, it's very important.
And then for you, the biggest X factor on offense that the Buffalo Bills need to stop, who is it?
Who's the biggest X factor?
Yeah, that they need to stop.
Oh, who's the Saints X factor that we need to stop? Yeah. I would just say it starts with Kamara, making them one-dimensional. So stopping the run and then really being relentless in the pass rush, making them pass a lot, and then it's having a rough day for Spencer Rattler, being his 10th game into his career in that environment. We should do very well defensively, especially McDermott's had a really good track record with young quarterbacks, first year, second year quarterbacks. So yeah, just stopping the run, make that first and foremost. Maybe come out in 4-3 like we've been doing a lot more. And I know it's not because like I was saying it earlier, but I've been throwing it out to all these people out I see doing shows. What do you think about Taron's getting a little bit older? He's not the same Taron Johnson he used to be. What do we think about phasing out the nickel defense and going more to a 4-3? And then as you see these last 3 weeks, we've been doing a lot of 4-3. So I know it's good I personally like it because you're actually keeping Johnson fresh as well. And then you're throwing different looks at offenses. So maybe come out in a 4-3, stop the run, and then you're going to be relentless with the pass rush and give Spencer Rattler a rough day so you get some turnovers.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Sean. I mean, the X factor for me is definitely Alvin Kamara, and make it about Spencer Rattler trying to beat you. I want to get into a couple of comments here. Number one, Sandy Witch is coming into the chat asking how have the Bills used linebackers this year, and is there an update on Maxwell Hairston so far? I do have an update on Maxwell Hairston to give you guys. And and it's good news and bad news. He's still working with trainers on the sidelines each and every day during practice. He is in a brace, is pretty much a big brace, and we could see maybe 2-3 weeks from now. That's what the timeline is for Sean McDermott, saying that we could see Maxwell Hairston start to practice and open up that window, maybe 3 weeks. But I would say that probably after the bye week, which is early for the Buffalo Bills right now, that we could see Maxwell Hairston back into the lineup for the Buffalo Bills. I will get into John Roberts' comment in just a couple minutes about the inactives. We will do that at the very end of the show. Trey Williams coming into the chat saying Brett made a good point about the Kincaid. His stats are much better. He's not playing through stimulus knee injuries, one PCL, and the other was hidden till the offseason. Completely agree with that statement. Trey Williams also saying Saints have a few really good wide receivers that can stretch the field. Do you think they will test our safeties? Personally, I do. I think that's the only advantage that the Saints can get from this game is to test the safeties, test the Buffalo Bills in ways that you can find, some of the weaknesses that we have on our team. But will it work out? That's to be determined. It could be Cole Bishop stepping up or Taylor Rapp making some big plays, as Sandy mentions. I want Bishop to be good so badly, but I hope Rapp doesn't really understand the second part of that question. Maybe I read it wrong. I apologize. Jessica Tennis saying to use 4-3 against the run teams and nickel against teams with elite quarterbacks. Like that thought too. Bills fan CA coming in saying probably not until after the bye week too. Okay, I got you, Sandy. Now, I want Bishop to be good so bad. I think he needs to get stronger. I mean, it's just more about, would you say, Sean, because we haven't talked about Bishop in a while. Do you think it's more about him getting the snaps that he needs out there on the field that can make him better, or do you think that it's more about, he needs to be put on a few more pounds? What do you think the situation is there from him?
Yeah, I mean, just playing gets you better. The muscle mass or any that doesn't really, that's not going to matter much. He's a great tackler. It's all tackling is really just technique and heart at the end of the day. Because you see some of these corners just lay the boom on people. It doesn't matter how big you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just the more you play, the better you get. So for him, I just think it's continuing to trust his own process. Really understand the play calls, the audibles on defense, the signs that they have to give each other, the communication, all that just happens with playing. So I think it'll be fine.
Absolutely, I agree. And Mike Fortin brings up a really good point here. Don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel too. You can always drop a nickel on the subscribe button. Also, keep the notification bell open so you know when we're going live too. Some people on YouTube, they have us subscribed, but they can't see when we're going live. This channel goes live pretty much 3 to 4 times a week. You have the fantasy football show. You have other stuff that's going on too. Not only us, but you can see Jake and Mike on the post-game show. You can also see the trench talk that Sean Kula is doing as well. So keep that notification bell open as well on Nickel City Mafia. But Sean, let's get into the keys to victory for the Buffalo Bills. And I want to get into the betting odds too. The Bills are favored by 16.5 points in this game. The over-under is 46.5. Bills have won the last meeting 31-6, which was Thanksgiving night in New Orleans in 2022, where Tre'Davious White hit that turkey leg. The trend is that the Buffalo Bills are currently 13-0 at home over the last few games, and the New Orleans Saints are 1-6 on the road over the last 7 games in the AFC division. So, Sean, keys to victory for you. I want you to go first, and then I'll give you mine. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, simply put, again, always it's a given, win in the trenches, but beyond that, play clean football. You don't want to turn the ball over now and give another bad team, with all due respect, more chances to feel like they got hope to win a game like this, because they want to win this game, not only because they want to save their season, but everybody wants to be able to say they beat the Buffalo Bills, especially being minus 16-point favorites, basically. So
Yeah,
they're going to give us their best. So we either can go in there with the attitude of we're going to dominate every single drive on this opponent, or they're going to do what they did the last couple of weeks and just be like, let's just play it cool. We got a big lead. We'll do basic plays. We'll hand the ball off. We'll throw, here and there. And like, if you're just going to do that, it could eventually, you're going to catch a team that's a bad team, even that's going to have a good day, and they're going to dominate you. So I just want to go out there, play clean football, and just give a team a beating that we should be able to give them.
absolutely. I agree 100% with what you're saying. And Sandy, I do see your comment there about Bishop, and the tandem of Bishop and Rapp. We will get into that after the keys to the game for the Buffalo Bills and New Orleans Saints. For me, I think that one of the biggest keys is to you mentioned the turnovers, and the Bills in the last 8 games have won the turnover battle, and they haven't turned the ball over. Over the last 20, I believe it's 25 games, according to my records, they've won the turnover battle in 25 games and haven't turned the ball over in 8 games. Thank you, John Robert, for messaging me that earlier today. And my next key to victory is for Josh Allen to protect him at all times and make sure that he exploits mixed matches out there on the field. Whether it's him doing it or checking into the right situations and making sure that guys like James Cook have a balanced offensive attack, it comes down to the leader at the helm in Josh Allen, making sure that, you're checking into the right plays. Don't make mistakes in this game, like you mentioned, but exploit the mixed matches, whether it's on the outside in the boundaries or in the middle of the field or with James Cook running the ball. Find the mismatches, take advantage of it, and move down the field and score touchdowns.
For sure.
And then, Sean, go ahead with your next one.
Yeah. Again, just I need to see more from the defense. Obviously, I'm not going to – the only games I'm going to judge the defense if they're good is the Bucks, the Chiefs, the Eagles, and the Bengals, just because the Bengals got weapons. I'm not going to – if they destroy the Saints and do great against the Saints, get 10 sacks and 20 yards allowed, I'm not going to be like, oh, this defense is here. So do what you should do against a team like this that's, young quarterback, new head coach, young pieces, just not quite there yet as far as being able to compete for playoffs or anything. Dominate them like you should. And I need a game like the Jets game defensively, not 3 for 11 for 20 yards and all that, but really just give Spencer Rattler hell. Throw all these crazy, disguise coverages at him. Show man, go to zone. Show zone, go to man. Half zone, half man. Just completely confuse him. I mean, he's got a great. I mean, the Eagles loved. I was never big on Kellen Moore, but a lot of the people I know that like the Eagles, they raved about him. I think it's just because they won the Super Bowl. I really don't think. I think they could have had anyone else as an offensive coordinator won the Super Bowl last year. But he gets a lot of high praise from the Eagles. So he's definitely, and he is intelligent. He's a very, very smart, very, very good offensive mind.
You're intelligent when you have Saquon Barkley in the backfield. You're intelligent when you have AJ Brown, who, when he catches the ball and gets you fantasy points, Sean, you're happy. When you have Devontae Smith as in 1B, you're successful. And when you have Jalen Hurts and a defense in Vic Fangio that's pretty darn good.
Helps. But I mean, they're going to be going in the right direction. I think it's just not time for them yet. So I like to see this D line again be relentless with the pass rush, get to the quarterback, actually bring him down, disrupt him, at least hit him. I mean, a quarterback hit, that's when he's in the middle of throwing the ball, he releases the ball and you hit him. Yeah. So at least it's something. You're touching the quarterback. And, he may or may not complete the pass, but we really have to disrupt everything. We can't just give up easy plays all night or all day. And, I've been saying it for years, the same problems with this defense. They suck at tackling. They suck at third down defense. And what was the other thing I always said, Brett? I can't think of it right now. Tackling, third down defense.
Pretty much third down efficiency. I mean, I think that's been an issue for years.
There's one other thing. It'll come back to me, but I've been saying it for a long time, and they're still doing the same stuff. So,
gap integrity too. I mean,
this is a game. This is a game where they have to be good tacklers. They have to be able to get to the quarterback and bring them down and stop them on third and longs and third down in general.
Yeah, I completely agree with you there, Sean. For me, I mean, the last thing is start fast, put points on the board, keep New Orleans behind you, and make them have to fight the crowd of Buffalo. It's never easy going against the crowd there. So, I mean, that sums it up for me. Sean, if you have any more, let me know.
Yeah, again, like I said, it's just, again, not to be disrespectful to the Saints, but the spread's what it is for a reason. There shouldn't be, they're not a division team, so there shouldn't be any the Dolphins, it's a tough matchup just because they're a division rival. This is a game where we're clearly the better team. We clearly have the better offense, clearly got the better defense, and clearly got the better coaching. So there shouldn't be, I mean, if it's 30-20, maybe I'll be a little bit upset, but it shouldn't be any closer than that kind of game.
Yeah.
And if we're giving up more than 20 points to the Saints, I think there's major problems here. So again, maybe if we're sitting in the fourth quarter and they score 20 points in the fourth quarter when we got backups in, maybe that's one thing.
Yeah.
But there should be minimum. We should score 30 points at the bare minimum, and they shouldn't score more than like 18, 17 points against the starters. So again, anything can happen any given Sunday. They could win this game, the Saints. But 99 times out of 100, I think the Bills win this game. So just be smart, play good defense, play good offense. Don't be lazy. Don't think you can just coast and beat every team like we have been. Go for the throat, end it quick, and then FSU.
Yeah.
You know the acronym FSU.
I know what you're saying. I know we can't say it on air probably. But
it was funny. I heard I was watching one of my old high schools play yesterday because one of my friends and one of my clients, he's a head coach now, and they haven't won a game in 3 years, so it was really cool. He took over this year. They won their first game in a long time, so it was nice to be there. But they did a breakdown. The kids were like FSU. It's a Catholic school too, so they didn't actually say the words, but I was like, oh, I know what you mean. It reminded me of like Jordan Poyer when he would do his like, we strap, we talk shit, I forgot what else he said, but stuff like that. And it was just like, these young kids, they know what it is.
Absolutely. Sean, give me your inactives this week for the Buffalo Bills. Who do you think it's going to be? Obviously, we got two. We got Oliver and Milano that we can both agree on that are inactive. We've already been announced that they will not play in the game. Need three more inactives for the Buffalo Bills. Who is going to be inactive?
And we've only done 5. Like they haven't made 6 inactive. They've done 5 every time. Because I know you can do an extra one, but
usually it's more because the Bills are bringing up players from the practice squad. So whether it's going to be like Jordan Phillips or something like that, or even I can't think of his name now. But I'm drawing a blank on his name.
No, that's all right. I'm just wondering because it's like I don't know if I should try to go for just a 6, just to throw a wrench in it. But we'll just stick to the 5. Curtis Samuel, Ed Oliver, Matt Milano. For Mike this week, I'll say AJ just because I think he's battling injury. So I'll just say AJ. I would pick Solomon, but I think because of the pack, they might be a little bit careful with him.
Real quick, Sean, I want to cut you off for just a second, buddy, because we do have a super chat that came in. I want to thank Sandy Witches for coming into the chat with $4.99 in the chat. Bills fan in California. Just came across you guys. Wish your channel the best. Go Bills and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click that notification bell too, Sandy, so that you can see all of the upcoming shows that we have going on, and you can be right there with us commenting on all of our social media that we're doing. So go ahead with your point, Sean.
Yeah, so Milano, Oliver, Samuel, AJ or Solomon. Is Logan on the 53-man roster? Or was he a practice
Zion Logan,
squad?
that was who I was thinking of, the practice squad.
Okay, so he won't
So
be
you're saying
active because then he'll have to be signed to the 53. So he'll be inactive.
Well, he probably won't even be called up.
Oh, right, yeah. So that makes it even more interesting.
So you're saying Oliver, Samuel, Milano,
Solomon or Epinesa, and then I can't think of a fifth one. Who's been the fifth one like recent? Like yeah, Hancock. Yeah, he's been the guy. So
it's usually been Hancock. I'll give you mine real quick because I imagine that the Bills are going to call up probably Jordan Phillips to the roster this week as a possibility. If they do not call, this is if they do not call anybody up, so we can kind of adjust it based off of if they call people up. You said Oliver, Samuel, Milano, Hancock, or Epinesa. I have here probably the lineup that's always going to be the inactives for the Buffalo Bills. But I say that Curtis Samuel gets into the lineup this week for the Buffalo Bills. That's my surprise for you guys. I have Ed Oliver, Matt Milano, Jamarcus Ingram inactive, Jordan Hancock, and Chase Lunt.
Oh yeah, Chase Lunt too. So that's a sick. He's always going to be inactive. So
yeah. So I'm saying that based off of the 5, if there's more that we need, I mean, probably Chase Lunt is going to be added to your list, I would imagine. If there's a 6, I'm going to put Samuel in there. And then the 7th, if they bring up another defensive lineman, I would say either Solomon or Epinesa. So I'm kind of going along with what you're saying too, Sean. But I think that Ingram's going to be inactive too.
Yeah, so, and just before we wrap it up real quick, just because I know this is a big week for Mike, hopefully Landon can get some playing time. Me personally, I feel like if you get drafted in the first, second, and third round for sure, you should be able to contribute to a team in year one 1,000%.
Yeah.
However, I know he needs more development, but at this moment in time, this is a perfect opportunity to get someone like him reps in the real NFL, not just practice against your team. Because if you've played, you know it's 100% different playing against your brothers or your family and going against someone that is your opponent or your enemy. So it's a perfect time to get Landon some reps because for sure he's not going to get any when it comes to Hoyt and Ogunjobi coming back because you're going to have to put someone like Sanders inactive every week. So, which is even worse because we traded up for him and he sat out to get more money and he hasn't done jack. So that's going to be awful. Hopefully the next 3 weeks he does really good and he doesn't get put inactive every week. But I think this is a perfect week to bring a guy like Dylan Jackson in, get some tape on him.
Yeah.
Be able to help him improve even more because just doing it in practice, that's not going to do nothing. Like right now in practice, there's no development going on.
Yeah.
It's not training camp anymore. So he's just practice squad. He's not going to do any improvement. Anyone that's on the practice squad not getting reps in the real game, it's very, very, very minimal because they're just used as scout. So like Baker Mayfield played defensive end on a scout team in Carolina. So do you think that made him a better football player? No, it's not. The purpose isn't for them to get better when they're on the practice squad. It's to help the first team be better. And they're not going to have one-on-one coaching. They're not the reps that they're getting in practice against the starters isn't the same as if you're actually getting out there playing. So it's a perfect opportunity to get a guy like Landon Jackson some reps. Again, even if it's once or twice for this year, it's better than no reps at all. And also, if you got reps now, and then maybe, God forbid, one of those other guys that comes back gets hurt or something, and we get another injury on top of that, and then he has to play. Well, I would much rather him have already had a couple games under his belt than having to come in against the Bucks in a big game when we're like undefeated or one loss and we're trying to keep the 1 seed. I'd rather have him have experience than to come right in there and have to go against Tristan Wirfs right off the bat. So, but yeah, we'll see.
Absolutely. I agree with what you're saying. I think that the development of him this is the time you can evaluate him. You can give him, some much needed reps. You can look at the film and everything and see what he can do to progress. And I mean, we pretty much call him one chop, shop is what the nickname is for Landon Jackson. And
I don't call him that, but you and Jake do.
I mean, yeah, that's the nickname that's going around right now for him. But let's see what he can do out there on the field. Let's see if he can, make a difference. And like we said, I mean, we think that this game is going to be a blowout. We think that the defensive starters are going to be out early in the fourth quarter, and we can bring in guys and evaluate the team. That's what you do in the pretty much the preseason. You evaluate talent. Let's see what type of talent that we have from Landon Jackson before it's too late. And you mentioned you have to go up against guys like Tristan Wirfs. You have to go up against elite pass rushers, and it kills his confidence. Let's give him some confidence, and let's get him into the lineup this week. Sean, let's get into the ruthless predictions. I'm going to start calling this for the game. And I'd love to know your score prediction, who you think is going to win, how many points. Give me a player that's going to stand out for the offense. Give me a player that's going to stand out for the defense of the Buffalo Bills too. Your offensive MVP, your defensive MVP, and it can't be Josh Allen.
Well, I don't like giving out legit scores, but I think we should win, and we should. I said it last week, we should have covered the spread. We didn't. But, I mean, technically we should have, but we missed that field goal, which I don't even know. I still don't know if it was blocked or if what happened. But he made up for it and sealed a clutch one at the end. So we should have covered there. I think we should cover. We should win by at least 17 points. But offensive player, I'm going to say Coleman again. It's Coleman's time to have another 100-yard game. Defensively, defensive MVP, let's just say Bosa again, because he destroyed the Jets game. He's been very consistent. He's been really just – he played so many snaps last week. Yeah, Solomon, you're not coming in. I'm staying out here. AJ, you can switch with Rousseau. I'm not coming out, which is awesome. And then he had 10 days rest. I think this is a perfect game against young tackles. Get him out there and just destroy. And he's our best playmaker. Ed Oliver's not there. Bosa's the best we got in that D-line. I wanted to go with Walker, but I just think Bosa's out of all of them, he's got a nose for the ball. He's got the best pass rush skill set, the best, just the best experience, the best, veteran mind out there. So I say Bosa and Coleman.
So I'm going to give you a score prediction. I have the Buffalo Bills winning by 14 points, not covering the spread. I think it's going to come down to a touchdown to end the game for the New Orleans Saints after the Bills are up big, bringing out their starters. It's going to be a 14-point game, 34-20 Buffalo winning. I also think that offensive MVP for the game is going to be a surprise. I think it's going to be Dalton Kincaid having a big day against the New Orleans Saints. And then my defensive MVP, I'm going to give it to Christian Benford. I think that he's going to lock down Chris Olave. I think it's going to be a really good defensive matchup for him. And he's going to have 2 interceptions in the game, make a difference for the Bills and show up. But I would say that there's going to be a co-MVP for this race. And I think that Tre'Davious White's going to have a big day too for the Bills. But I want to get into a couple of comments real quick that are coming in real fast. Who else do you think is going to be elevated from the practice squad?
Probably Keontae Jenkins, right?
Jenkins, if he does get called up, it would be his 3rd time.
Right.
And, so
maybe Charlo, like someone mentioned earlier.
Charlo could be. Trek Reviewer saying 47-3 Buffalo. Cam Lewis, co-MVP. I like that.
I would love a 47-3 game.
I'd love an ass kicking. I mean, it would be really nice to get my heart rate back down after a couple of.
But I already know it's probably going to be like 30-23, something stupidly close when it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
You know how you know how it's going to go. We'll probably. I was telling Mike earlier. I kind of want to be like that Jags game where it was like 28-0 at half. Like if it's like that, maybe like you could take your foot off the gas just a little bit. But I would still
Yeah.
prefer the first possession you get in the third quarter, go out there and just dominate the drive, get a touchdown, make it 35-0, and then it's there you go. Now you can do whatever you want. Now you can chill. But if it's 21-10, don't go into cruise control because all it takes is a fumbled snap, a tipped pass that goes into an interception, and then the team got momentum.
Yeah, it's a one possession game.
So yeah, but yeah, I would love a dominating game, nice chill, because going into next week, I know it's a division game, so it'll be tough.
Yeah.
So
it is great.
I love a nice dominating game. Get some more, maybe get a little bit of time off in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean that would be great to see. And I was talking to Mike yesterday about this. You know, for me, I mean, yes, an ass kicking would be great. I would love to see it. But last week against the Seattle Seahawks, the New Orleans Saints in the first quarter is 3 minutes left in the first quarter. The spread on the game was 25.5. Okay. The Saints had already given up 21 points. And I mean, I've never seen a spread that high in a game. Yeah. So that's the live betting if you're doing like Hard Rock and stuff like that and trying to figure it out, you know, who you think is going to win. But, you know, like Mike mentions, you got to win the turnover battle as we've done in the last 25 games, including the playoffs. So let's keep the streak alive and let's have a good game against the New Orleans Saints and move on to a divisional matchup where Sean's going to have a surprise for the channel next week. Whether he's going to be wearing blue or maybe a different color for the Buffalo Bills.
Question though, if we don't get a turnover and we don't have one and it's 0-0, does that count as winning the turnover battle, or does it mean you have to have 1-0 or 2-1 or 3-2?
I wonder how that works. I mean, I don't necessarily know. I mean,
we could go. We have to go back and check every game, but I'm curious because like you didn't lose the turnover battle if it's 0-0, but you didn't win it. So, or does that would ruin a streak if it was 0-0? But this is a game where you should definitely get a turnover or two.
Absolutely. Or does it get watched? That's the other thing is, you know, if we don't turn the ball over and we have 0 turnovers, they have 0 turnovers. But let's say that, okay, we don't have a turnover on offense or defense, but we have a turnover in special teams. Does that count too? That's another thing.
I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine it does. But I mean, yeah, I'd love to know that too. But it's all interesting questions, though, Sean. I mean, I absolutely love it. But Sean, give me your final thoughts on this game real quick, and we'll turn it over to you know, the rest of the night and enjoying it. So. Give me your final thought.
Again, should be 4-0. I hope it's not a game where it's the third quarter and we're like, this is horrible. It shouldn't be this bad. Why are we so sloppy? Why is it so close this late in the game? Again, I respect every team. I know anybody can beat anybody. You just saw the Browns beat the Packers. So I just want to see a game where everything's clicking, foot on the gas the entire game. Third downs, I mean, we're going to give up some third downs, but don't give 10 for 15, 8 for 12. Go like 5 for 12, 5 for 13. Like that's pretty solid. Stay around there because these guys are grown men, professionals too, trying to win a football game, so they're going to make some plays. But yeah, just dominate. Don't be lazy. Don't be cute with play calling. Don't just go run, or pass. Do everything with a purpose. I noticed like that last game when you mentioned how like we went away from the run a little bit, but that was also every first down, run the football. They had 9 people in the box. We still ran the football. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like they were just being like, oh, okay, game's out of reach a little bit. Let's just be cool. Let's waste some time. Because like if I saw that, I'd be like, if I'm Josh, I'd be, hey, they got 9 in the box. Let's do like a PA rollout and dump it off, or I'll take it. but he's also not wanting to do all these design runs right now. It's early in the year. So like I totally get it, but I think I want to just be purposeful with everything, not just be lazy. I want not to open up the playbook or anything, but when you do the play calls, have it set something up. Don't just be run up the middle, screen pass, punt. You know what I mean? Just stick to the strengths of the team. Cook is amazing anytime with this O-line, but these guys, the combo of the O-line and Cook and stretch and zone run schemes is just incredible because his vision's out of this world. And like it's like don't just run up the middle, hat to a hat, and then they send run blitzes, and then you don't got enough people blocking, and then Cook gets hit into a wall. Be smart, do the same good stuff that you always do the entire game, and see what happens.
Absolutely.
Get a win before 4-0.
Completely agree with you, Sean. And, it comes down to physicality, playing physical, protecting the ball, being scrappy out there on the field, and making it all happen. So, Sean, thank you so much for joining me again tonight. And I appreciate everybody in the chat coming in on Facebook and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You can find us on social media on YouTube and Facebook. You can also find myself on my channel, Go Bills Podcast. You can find Sean on Red, White, and Bills and on Nickel City Mafia. And we'll see you again next week for our 8 o'clock start time for Red, White, and Ruthless. Yes, this week we went ahead a little bit because I had a function that I have to go to that's later on tonight. So I appreciate Sean for jumping in and moving it up a little bit for me so that I can enjoy a little bit of football, some high school football in the local area, and see my alma mater play some high school football and enjoy some time with some friends too. So let's stay loud. Let's get a win on Sunday, and we'll stay loud, stay proud, and we'll always say, Go Bills.
Go Bills. Take care.
We'll see you guys next time.